Hello. Do you know that you are on your own in this life, in this realm? I want to share one story that actually it happened a few years ago, but I often think about it, and I want to share about real life situation. I used to work with one woman, and she was a lovely woman in her 60s, and she had two children, and everything seemed to be fine. She was very, kind of very joyful, um, very pleasant to be around. And uh, for some reason, every night after work, she went outside the city. She had a small kind of hut, small garden, uh, like very tiny, tiny house with no. I mean, it. Well, there was nothing in that house basically, sort of like a garden house. And every night she actually went to that place after work. And I wondered, I said to her, like, well, you said that you have an apartment in the city. Why do you have to go to that place every night? And she said, well, I want to be closer to nature. I love nature. And, although it was already September, it was quite cold. I said, well, okay, if, if, if you enjoy it, then fair play. So we worked together, and then I actually quit. Well, I decided to move on from that job, and within a year and a half, I received a phone call, and the phone call was from her son, and that was sort of the conversation that still kind of I have, I do remember actually, and I think about it sometime. So this chap rang me and he introduced himself, and he said that he actually was going through his mother's phone, and he came across my number and decided to ring up and have a chat about um, her, where she worked and what kind of benefits he could get from the employers because of her death. So, and I said, okay, I don't work there anymore, but uh, you'll have to kind of find out through other ways, about benefits that you can get from her employment. And as he was sort of very chatty guy, and he was saying to me, explaining that he has a 4-bedroom apartment, large apartment in the city center, and that uh, he basically said to me like, I have bills to pay and I have kids, and um, you know I'm trying to figure out uh, the ways that I can benefit most from this situation. I said fair play, and I asked him like, yeah, what about the apartment that she said that she has? And he said, well, her daughter, my sister, lives in that apartment. And I said, well, he said to me that he was antique seller, so obviously the chap is no short of money. And he said to me, well, uh, that I said, how's sister doing? And he said, well, I don't know how she's doing, but I'm planning to sell that apartment because I have a share in that apartment, and basically uh, we'll have to split. And that apartment, for as long as I knew, was 1-bedroom apartment. So I said, okay. So I said, where will your sister live? And he said, well, I don't care where she lives, as long as I'll have my share. And remember, he has a 4-bedroom apartment in the city center, this guy. So, and I, as we chatted along, you know, he was saying to me that he knew that, well, basically, he did know that she became ill with cancer, and that he bumped into somebody that knew her, that told her about this. So he learned it from other people. And I asked, like, what kind of relationship did you have with your mom? Uh, and he said, fine. we just were so I'm just so busy, with my work, with selling antiques. It's very kind of dynamic work, and that's why I didn't have a lot of time um, for my mom. So, and basically he said that uh, he basically it just went out of my head. um, yeah, and basically he said that he learned that about his mom's condition basically prior few well, a month before she passed away. Obviously he went to visit her and he decided that for the grandkids he would make videos, and then he changed his mind because she was very ill. And then basically uh, her last wishes were to, as she was Orthodox Christian, she wanted to be buried fully. uh, that was her last wish. And he said, well, we actually didn't follow her wish because the land is so expensive and the funerals are so expensive. We just cremated her and buried her in the family plot against her wishes, basically. So yeah, and that plays on my mind. Like, I was so stunned after talking to this guy, and I thought to myself, for fuck's sake, like, honestly, what the fuck is wrong with you? I I felt so awful after talking to him, and actually it's been now a few years, and I think about it. I think about that talk often. And you know what, to be honest with you, I see left and right these situations, this sort of like people that are actually soulless. They don't have souls. I mean, there was a time when I had to attend uh, the palliative care unit in our local hospital in the city. And honestly, uh, what those doctors see there or have to observe there, it's actually so heartbreaking. On a human level, it's heartbreaking because most of the elderly, they basically die alone without any family present. You know, um, that's sort of like, I spoke to one doctor, and she said to me, well, it seems like they're just, once they learn that there is a terminal illness of an elderly, they sort of like back off. And you know people just people are people, and that's why I just want to say to you people, um, those who will see this, watch this, put yourself first. Put yourself first, because you're not the first thought on those people's minds that you think are dear to you or close to you. Yeah, you might be lucky if it is like that, but in most cases, it's all very, let's be real, it's all very fake. It's like, honestly, it's like a jungle. People try to people try to, yeah, just like animals survive in a jungle, that's how humans try to survive in this realm, kind of. And once, as I said again, like, once you present some sort of value, they'll be around you. But once you don't present any value to people, then they'll just shove you off and move on. So, and that's the story I wanted to share. And take care of yourself and be mindful.